Hi guys, and welcome to D6 Evolution. I'm Wes. This is
Andy
and
Simon.
And today we're going to be talking about Warhammer 40,000 in 2019. Well, let me just start here. 2018 was quite a rapid-fire year. So what could we expect in 2019? What do you think, Andy?
I think 2018 was crazy, but I think the main things 2019, I think we're getting a lot of signals from Chapter Approved about which ways the GW want to go with things.
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually getting Chapter Approved and Vigilus kind of at the same time. There's some good combat indicators in there of what's coming. What do you think?
I think Chapter Approved and Vigilus are kind of giving us a really strong indication of where GW want to be with 40k at the moment. We're seeing some mission rebalancing and certain point changes for units, so I think they're in a really good position going into 2019.
Okay, so that's a pretty good thing actually to talk about. What do we learn from Chapter Approved?
So I think the new missions are the main thing here, guys. So, like I've been saying in one of my other videos, going second is now the new going first.
It really is.
It is awesome. So, assuming that Chapter Approved is, most people are going to be using Chapter Approved missions. And certainly in the UK, guys, competitive play is all about Chapter Approved missions, isn't it? Well, Maelstrom and Eternal War missions.
So why do you think going second is the new?
So main things are that you're scoring points at the end of the battle round now, not the end of your turn. So
most of the missions, yeah.
That's huge for your opponent reacting to your thing. So instead of just towing in with one lone guardsman, he's just going to get annihilated and not going to score any points. So I think that's big. Counter deploying your enemy now is also huge. So if you go second, you've chose the side of the board you want, and you've seen where your enemy's going to be. You completely counter-deploy him. You use your strat to beat your entire army in cover.
Yeah.
And then you get to seize after that.
Yeah, it's really quite powerful, isn't it?
That is massive.
It really is.
That is massive. And you get to choose whether you go first or second.
And the FAQ gave us another beautiful thing for going second. That 2-point stratagem for giving everybody a cover save.
Prepared positions is so good for some armies.
Yeah.
It doesn't benefit all armies, so Admech no longer benefit massively with Shroud's Arm, but if you've got something like Guard, for instance, like lots of heavy weapons, teams, tanks, all getting benefits, because that's so strong.
It's really good.
So good.
So yeah, I think it's massive.
Absolutely.
I think that's...
So, sorry, what did you think else came out of Chapter Approved?
I think one of the big for me, the big thing over Chapter Approved was acceptable casualties. So for me, that's a really big thing now. So a lot of guys who are playing for tabling might not work so well this time. So essentially, the acceptable casualties is, even if you are tabled, you still play on, so to try and catch up on points. So, for instance, if I'm playing knights and I table my opponents, at the end of turn 3, I still have turn 4 until 5 to get points.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think the different roles as well have got more importance, such as troops and characters. Just by the way the mission constructs in the New Eternal War are formed, that only those units in certain missions can capture objectives. So that makes them a lot more important during games as well.
I think objectives is going to be such a massive thing in this going in 2019. I think we're going to see a lot less small elite armies, and we're going to see more horde armies and lots of troops and things that can just capture objectives.
Okay. So this is our first prediction for 2019, is that we're actually going to be playing the missions. We're not just going to be tabling people, we're actually playing missions.
Okay, I'll put this out there. Not a new concept for some of us. Andy, however, new concept. Love
complete game changer for me.
I don't know what a mission is. I play Imperial Knights, I have 6 models. Objectives aren't a thing I need to be concerning myself about in most
games. We've always got the whole new world music playing in the background.
Yeah.
Over Andy likes sort of halo glow behind him.
Yeah.
See if we can get that CGI'd in at the end of this.
Yeah. So I think the other cool thing from Chapter Approved is, with all these points drops, there's been so many points drops, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen...
And with GW pushing 1750 as their tournament standard, what's your thoughts?
I think it's the new black. I really do.
I think so. I think with GW taking such a massive step up in terms of organising competitive play with their grand tournaments now, I think you can see a lot of the big tournaments now following suit and moving everything to 1750. It makes sense.
So what I've seen so far, most armies are getting anywhere between 100 and up to 300 points more on the table.
Yeah.
And at 2,000 points, we're all seeing the game getting a little bit slow and sluggish. So I think tuning it down to 1750.
I mean, at 2,000 points, we're seeing, orc armies, demon armies, and now Tau armies with 300 models.
Yeah.
At 2,000 points, I think it might be a
But
little
what you're saying
bit.
is we're still getting that amount of models. We're just calling it a different value.
Yeah. But I think reducing points down, I think, will
Yeah.
reduce army swell a little bit and bring it down more.
It's kind of like what we
manageable.
discussed in the previous chat that we had about you can either raise points or lower points. And I think by lowering points to bring the balance in, it allows more toys on the table. But the downside of that is the game could get bogged down a little bit potentially. So I think then lowering it to 1750 puts us in quite a nice position for playing games. Really, that's kind of what I think it will count.
Yeah.
So that's the chapter approved side. Any other points about that at all?
No, I think we've covered everything we can glean from that, really.
Yeah. So next year 1750. I think that's going to be the key one.
Yeah. So that's our prediction number 2.
Prediction number 2.
1750.
Yeah.
So the other book that dropped, Vigilus.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think this is a really great tome for giving an indicator of what's coming next year. So what are your thoughts so far, Andy?
I think we've got 80 days.
80 days.
80 days before Chaos drop.
Is it 79 days now? Actually, I think?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I'm behind the times. I only watched the video today.
Yeah, you could date with
Probably 74 by the time this video comes out, to be honest.
too much editing Andy needs to do on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just edit you guys out, basically.
Oh dear. So I think 80 days for Chaos. I think we'll be seeing some good stuff from that. Rumours of potentially Abaddon coming in that.
It must be. I mean, we've just seen Calgar get a new Primaris model. At this time, with him being quite, big in the lore with it at the moment, and being such an old model, it must be time. It must be.
That's a perfect segue, actually. Calgar, new armour, new size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Primarisification, that is actually a word, look in the dictionary. I'm English, so it must be right. Of Space Marines and all their previous heroic characters. I think that's going to be a thing.
Yeah. I mean, we always kind of knew it was going to happen, but now it's in your face.
Yeah.
At first, it was softly, guys, we're not phasing everything else, but I think now they're very much, actually. Do you think we're going to get an Azrael Primaris?
Well, that's why I made the Azrael model, because I thought one day this may happen. So
yeah, you're just ahead of the curve.
So please, GW, don't kill off Azrael. I've made a really nice model of him in Primaris armour. That's my one plea, okay? I buy lots of your stuff.
But yeah, you're right. I can certainly see a lot of the big name characters going to the new Primaris scale. Dante, I think, is prime for doing that. Really, I can certainly see him going up to it. Azrael, I think, is another great example of that.
Do you think we're going to get a new Codex?
I have a strong sneaking suspicion that we'll see a new Space Marine Codex or even a new Chaos Codex too. Because you've got to face these codices, although they've only been released in the past year or so, are probably a bit older than that, and the game has changed quite a bit.
It's because the style of how they've been doing codexes has changed so dramatically.
Yeah.
Just every few codexes, they completely...
They've learned so much over the past couple of years as well. It's been, I think, like no other time in 40k history, there's been so much feedback, so much interaction with GW as well, and they really are tightening the game as well, so it's really good to see. So hopefully they'll bring out. I wouldn't have qualms about a new codex.
I think most Space Marine players would love a new codex.
We're certainly getting to the end of the Codex release cycle now, so we've only got a couple left. We've got Gene Stealer Cult, we've got Sisters proper release.
Yep.
And I think then we're pretty much done in terms of all current codexes being out and available and all in a good state. So it would make sense then to start coming back around to what was the oldest codex, which will be Marines, especially with Calgar and Primaris being a much bigger focal point for GW at the moment. I certainly think that's a great time to be looking at new release cycle.
I guess that's another prediction. And I've got one hope that we get a Yunari codex in its own, in isolation, without necessarily shenanigans from the other three codex.
Yeah, I think that's one codex which just needs to be its own thing, and it needs to just not be so bloody broken.
Yeah, I love all things Eldari in pointy years. I'm an absolute fanboy. I'm just not a fan of the Yunari thing. The background, I love the gameplay.
The background's incredible. I mean, for someone like me who loves the lore and loves reading all the background stuff, The Fracture of Beltan was a great book if you really like the story.
Yeah.
But the way the Inari interacted with Eldari units was... I'm not even sure GW could really anticipate how broken you could really combo with Inari.
And And I think the other thing that comes with is now, you've seen what they've done with regular tactical marines and translated them into Primaris marines. How great those models look. I never thought that I'd see a better Space Marine, but they did it. And they have the same opportunity to take what is a beautiful Eldar range, but it's been spread out for like almost 30 years now, and bring out a new imagery for Eldar. And I think Ynnari will be that. I'm really excited to see what they do. It may not be this year, it may be the year after, but I'm really super excited for that.
I mean, it's a really important story.
I think, I don't think at all, actually. I know, because if you look at the Ynnari models that are out at the moment, they are subtly bigger than the other Eldari models. So I am pretty sure they will be a slightly bigger
It would
scale.
be the perfect reason to redo some of the old kits, to be honest.
Yeah.
And an Inari release would be a good, amazing time to do new Banshees.
Well, I don't think that'd be the case. Actually.
Do you not think so?
No, I think this is a whole opportunity to completely reimagine it. In a similar way, we haven't seen new tactical marines, we've seen intercessors, and I think it's an opportunity to bring maybe a blend of all those things. I think they'll take
The
flavors.
Ynnarification of...
A Ynnarification of the Eldar races combination, yeah.
Okay.
I think that'd be really cool, because the army is a bit old, but you just want something new rather than just a new Guardian.
And you've got to look at it as well, GW's a business, and you don't necessarily make as much model by making another Banshee model. Where you make money is by making, because some people buy them because they're new models, but lots of people won't buy them because they've already got old Banshees. But if you bring out a new X model, which is similar but a different concept but in its own individual, I think that people buy that.
It'll be interesting to see how Sisters do in that respect then. Because obviously the Sisters are probably... Now we've seen plastic Sisters in the form of Gemini Superior, Celestine.
Yeah.
And the new Codex coming out. It'll be... And obviously we've seen some 3D renders of new Sisters. It'll be interesting to see if nostalgia plays a big part of people buying that. So I think that'll play a big part of people buying new Eldar models.
I think they're expanding the range on that as well.
I think so. I suppose I don't think Eldar Inari will get some new stuff exclusively for them.
Yeah,
which I think.
I'm really looking forward to
Okay.
that. So what else did we learn from the Vigilus?
Oh, let's talk. We've got to talk formations. What were they actually?
We do.
Specialist detachments, I believe.
You talk formations, and I'll see what they call them in here.
They're back, but they're not as ridiculous as they were in 7th edition.
Yeah, they're not at the moment, and that's mainly because actually all the overpowered armies didn't really get much, did they?
No.
Well, Orcs got one, Eldar got one, which didn't really do anything. But actually, it's brought like Ravenwing back up to being a bit more competitive, and things like that. So actually, the question is this a slippery slope?
No,
Do
me
you
personally, I think GW learned their lesson with formations from 7th edition. At the end of 7th edition, it was so ridiculous. I mean, anybody who played anything competitive will remember War Convocation. They'll remember Riptide Wing, which were just so over the top.
The Battle Company, we got all those free vehicles and stuff.
Yeah, all the dedicated transports were free. I mean, for me, who was a big AdMech player, War Convocation, I was playing 1750, but I'm actually taking 2,500 points because all my upgrades are free.
Why would you not take it?
Yeah.
But I think with this, I think from the ones they've got so far, they've dialed it pretty well. I think the use of command points in order to purchase those specialist attachments.
I was going to say, tying it into command points, I think was a great idea.
I would just like to see, and we kind of had a discussion about it before, like the 5 points and the 12 points for the brigade and the battalion is great. I just think maybe some of the more specialist attachments need a few more points, like the Outrider, 1 point. I don't think quite enough.
So what they did with Imperial Knights is really cool. Is they gave them their own amount, so they get 6 points for a super heavy.
And they did that with the Drukhari as well, but unfortunately that kind of got lost in the balance there.
Yeah, with the raiding parties where because in match play you can only take 3 detachments.
Yeah,
it's kind of it lost out a little bit there. I'd love to see something get changed with that. That's great.
So looking to the future, I personally think we'll see more of these attachments, possibly or probably in the campaign books, like they've done with Vigilus. And possibly maybe then creeping into Codex itself.
We discussed this, and I don't. Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure we'll see them in the Codexes. They might keep them because they are very specialist. I could see them sticking in the campaign books. I think once we get a second part to Vigilus, I think it'll give us a better indication of what we'll see with detachments. Because not all detachments are in here. There are a few armies missing. I think orcs missing from here. Oh no, they got stompers in this one. So there are a few ones that are missing, but I think when that second part comes out, that'll really determine how.
We saw something very similar in 7th edition, where there was a series of campaign books that came out which gave special detachments and extra rules as well, potentially for different models as well. And then later updated when Codex came out. So I think this will probably be another strong theme for 2019.
Just in terms of Vigilus and campaign books, do you guys reckon we'll see more of the faction-specific campaign books? Like Montcar and Kion, they were very Tau-specific campaign books. Do you think we'll see them come back again?
I don't think so. I think we're going to see more inclusive campaign books. If you look at the most recent one, we've actually got a little bit of everything left. The Orcs are on the world, the Eldar, the Space Marines, everyone has just happened to be on the same place.
We have a bit of an indicator of what they've done so far, actually. They've built up the Vigilus campaign by releasing these special box sets.
Yes.
Where they have 2 armies in the box sets and adding 1 or 2 new models into that as well, developing the story in terms of small factions to build a bit of a picture. And I really quite like that, actually, as a concept. I bought a couple of them because it was a really good bargain to buy, and you get to learn a little bit more of the story as well. I kind of like that progressive, inclusive part of the 40k universe right now.
I love the moment where they're telling the story and releasing these really lovely, beautiful models along with the story.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the new Chaos Lord jump pack, and we're seeing new Calgar released to kind of tell the story of Vigilus. Yeah. I think that's really great going forward for them.
So, our next prediction, we're going to take a vote on this. Formations, by the time we get to next year, are we going to be moaning about how broken they are?
I don't think so. I think they've got it right this time, and I think they're very aware.
Okay.
Probably. I think they're pretty good spot on at the moment. Spot on balancing.
It's like
GW. I absolutely love you, but
just stop it now.
Just playtest as much as you can. I just think we'll probably end up with one very, very broken detachment that ends up getting abused. And I'm sure GW. The great thing is because they're so quick at doing their FAQs and erratas. I think they'll fix it pretty quickly. I'm sure there'll be a point where we go, I pay 1 command points to make all of these guys plus 1 attack, and there'll be some broken combo. Yeah. We'll see 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah. My personal prediction is that Custodes and GW, if you're listening, this is a good idea. We're going to have a 3-up in them, just for taking an attachment of all bikes,
or remove them entirely from.
That's fine. 500 points model. You can have that.
Yeah. Or do a campaign book where they're all sent back to Terra, and you can't use them as an army and match play.
Oh, all right. So moving on, I think. What do you guys think about updating rules? So there's been some rumours like Altiok -1 to hit factions and things like that. Do you think any of those are going to change?
So let's have a look what we've got at the moment. We've got the FAQs that are coming out every 6 months. So we've had 2 of those per year, and the chapter approved. And the general theme that I've seen is that they've stomped on points in the FAQs when it's been a dramatic thing that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And they've got that from tournament feedback that they've gone to. So I think we'll see small changes there when they really need to do it. And then the big change, I think, will come in the chapter approved.
The chapter approves points, but actually the last FAQ, we were getting rules complete changes, such as Raven Guard changed, Alpha Legion changed, their core stratagems in the book were changing. So maybe that's just an indication we're going to get new codexes for those armies. But maybe it means that actually GW are looking more at some of the more outlandish chapter tactics, and maybe, just maybe, they're going to be.
I think with Games Workshop as they are currently, because they're so quick and they're so vocal with talking about. I mean, the community's really the page for GW is really great because they do talk about what they want to do upcoming.
Yeah,
I think they'll stay on top of it. Because we'd heard rumours that -1 to hit was getting changed to +1 cover about a month ago. There was supposed to be a chapter removing, didn't happen. I would guess that anything really massively sweeping, especially on -1, will start to happen when we see it change with new codexes. Once a new codex comes in. So at the moment, Raven Guard have -1. I suspect once a new Space Marine codex comes out, if it changes Raven Guard, then we'll see it change for everyone who has a very similar thing.
I think I'm with you on that. Actually, I think the codices, which we'll see changing soon, because they will have to go through that cycle again, will be where we'll see those major changes.
And do you think they're going to keep up the rate of codex change? Because like last 2018, we saw a lot of codexes.
It won't. I don't think it'll be the same rate as which we saw over the past year or so. I think it'll be a bit more of a steady rate. I don't think it'll be like the old dark days where it was 1 or 2 a year. I think we'll see one every few months or so.
Yeah. I think it was an amazing year for codexes, an amazing year for armies. I think it was, I don't want to say slow, but I think model releases, it was certainly slowed down quite considerably this year. I could certainly see it going the other way now. I could see in the new year we're going to see a lot more campaigns.
Yeah.
And I could see a lot more model ranges getting updated. Like you said, I think Primaris is a thing, and I think we're going to see that trickle in next year when we see more armies.
Wave
possibly
2
get
of Primaris.
possibly armies of
They need
just lieutenants, just lieutenants. That's all it's going to be.
Okay. Well, very interesting. So my next thing is, do you think they're going to update any of the points, the chapters and the factions who didn't get touched in chapter approved? Because we all know chapter approved was written halfway through last year. So Dark Eldar aren't there, Knights aren't in there. There's a few other ones which aren't in there as well. Do you think they're going to get left till next year now, or do you think, because GW is not shy of changing points in FAQs?
I think from understanding the design philosophy that I've seen from reading the internet stuff, I don't think there'll be dramatic changes. I think if there are things that need to be stamped on, they'll do it in FAQs. But I think, in reality, although this is 2018 edition, I think you can read this as Warhammer 40,000 in 2019. This will be what you have for 2019, and this will be your set for that.
I completely agree. I think with the changes we got in chapter approved and with sort of the mission balancing from Vigilus, I think a lot of the armies that missed the chapter approved deadline, the issues have been fixed anyway. So, talking online with a lot of competitive groups on the Facebook channels, Knights have been very strong, but a lot of armies got a lot of points reductions, so they can take more stuff now to deal with Knights. And because obviously the new missions are very truth-based now, that also deals with a few issues that some of the other armies coming out later.
This is what I've liked about this edition so far, that every year we get the new chapter approved, or we get the new FAQ, and it kind of rejuvenates the game as well. So I don't know what the meta is going to be right now, because there's so many changes in terms of the rules for the missions and the points changes. It's kind of open play again now, really.
Hordes are going to be a big thing. Lots of troops, I think, is going to be a big thing this coming year.
I think there's something to be said for how much change is too much change, in terms of, if they completely change everything with each FAQ, which they've been doing.
Well, I was going to say, when you ask, are GW going to be completely, constantly updating? I don't think so. I think they'll start to slow down a bit. Yeah. I certainly think that any big sweeping changes will come with chapter approved 2019, which will be in around 6 months. I can see the big stuff will happen then. But
I think the 6 month cycle is good. So having chapter approved and then 6 months later the FAQ, and swatching between those. I didn't necessarily like the FAQ coming out in March, March, April time, and then 6 months later, next FAQ, but then it only being a couple of months then to chapter approved. The past few months of me almost killed 40k a little bit, because you're in limbo land for that. But I think 6 months between the two is kind of a good period.
I think even if you're not a competitive gamer, I think when you look at the big FAQ and the changes that happen there, if you're a bit more casual and you buy your models based on some of the changes, a lot of people will be like, okay, well, FAQ's changed out. I want to wait till chapter approved come out before I buy anything. And I can't see them doing that, having these huge gaps between them, because people want to buy models. And I think we're going to see a bit more of a spaced out approach to them doing there.
In fact, talking about spaced out approaches, Forgeworld. Missing in action, I think. Not
Does anyone know what's happened?
Anyone see Forgeworld?
Well, they were in chapter approved. Some of the Forgeworld units were actually, well, at least GW are actively doing something with Forgeworld. I love Forgeworld. I mean, you guys know how much Forgeworld Survivor. You've got quite a lot of Forgeworld yourself. You've got one of the fancy knights. You've got a Typhon that's sitting there.
Yeah. The Fire Raptor. Don't forget that. Yeah,
the Fire Raptors. I think 2019 is going to be a good year for Forgeworld. I suspect that, I know they've had a lot of tough things going for them the last couple of years.
So I think kind of the opposite, really. I think in terms of 40k, Forgeworld's had its day. Back a few years ago, Forgeworld models were premium products. They were, if somebody bought a Forgeworld model to you, wow, that's so amazing. But the Games Workshop plastics have come along.
Oh yeah,
so
new range
much
is
that
brilliant.
actually, I don't want resin most of the time. I want the plastic stuff because it's so much better to work with, and actually the models are just crisper and cleaner than.
No, we're not denying it. What we're saying is, do you think the GW rules writing team are going to step up and fill the void where Forgeworld have been? Or do you think they're just going to be these completely over-pointed models which no one can use anymore?
Well, we were meant to be getting the Talons of the Emperor book, but I hear through the rumour websites that that's been stopped for this year, which is a shame. So looking forward to that one.
I was looking forward to Fires of Calaxis because it was going to have Admech in there and Tau, and that unfortunately looks like that's gone. That doesn't look like that's where we're ever going to see the light. That's going to see the light. So it's a shame.
So really, back to the question, I don't think we're going to see new rules anytime soon for Forgeworld, and I don't see it being, thinking it from like a business perspective, I don't think it's necessarily the main studio interest to do too much for Forgeworld when they are bringing out such lovely plastic models, and that's what the company's about, is making beautiful plastic models, making background for it, and then creating rules for it.
For me, the thing with Forgeworld always was it was going to be a big centerpiece model. I own Town Eye was a centerpiece for a collection.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see Forgeworld work a bit closer with the Games Workshop writing team to actually make these models feel how good they look. How good they look. That should reflect on the table for me.
See, for me, I'd sooner them leave the 40k stuff to Maze Studio and get Horus Heresy back up to where it should be. But that's a little bit of a segue for me.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's
so I think by the end of 2019, I think we'll either see nothing from Forgeworld or there'll be a resurgence. There won't probably be anything in this week.
Tell me about sitting on that fence.
yeah.
Personally, I think they're going to do rules.
So Andy's
do...
prediction for this year, Forgeworld will either do something, or they're going to do nothing.
Oh yeah,
you
heard it. You heard it.
You can send us off to all the room websites.
I'm going to put
oh my god!
Let me put money on that one. Great. Anything else to say about Forgeworld, really?
No. Yeah. I think you guys know my opinion on Forgeworld. I love Forgeworld. I'd love to see it back on the table, but I think we could see something.
Cool.
Wow, it's nearly it's slightly more definite than mine.
So
I'm optimistic. I think we could see the return of a really good campaign book.
Okay,
we could see a good campaign book.
So Forgeworld, maybe. One thing I really want to talk about though that has me really quite excited and quite close to the channel itself is GW and tournaments.
Yes.
What changed around in the space of a year or so?
Yeah.
They're supporting and developing their own GTs, which we're going to be part of doing, as we've spoken in previous videos. And actually, they are recognising independent tournaments as well, which is a great thing to do.
Yeah, I think they're actually going to have a list of tournaments on the website, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is going to be good. So hopefully over 2019 they're going to be getting really into the tournament scene.
And that's really a positive thing, really, because
I think it's going to be massive.
Actually getting engaged with it, getting feedback from people as well.
Huge thing, because I remember a time in the hobby when GW kind of, we're a game maker, we're not a tournament, we don't do hardcore tournaments. Leave that to the people who really want to do that, and it's what a change around. It looks like it's going to be all positive for tournaments now.
So I think that's a pretty good review of what we think for 2019. 2018 was fantastic. 2017 before that was great. But 2019, I think it's even going to be a more blinding year. And this is just the things we thought about.
Yeah.
And every year, GW have pulled about 2 or 3 surprises, massive surprises, out of the hat and made it a fantastic year. So
coming to the end of this year, it can only get more positive. Coming for the hobby, it really can.
It's going to be awesome. And so comment below, guys. Let us know what you think. What are your predictions for 2019? And also, guys, we've done a cool little video on the future of the channel for 2019, so make sure you check that out as well.
See you next time.
Bye.
See ya.